Hey Stampers, it's Linda Schmidt with Stampin' with the Hounds. I have a fun fold card for you today. This is one that I'm going to be featuring at my Christmas get together next weekend or next Tuesday that I have. That's kind of my thank you for the year for everybody supporting me and, just in the Christmas spirit, sharing and getting together in these hard times. But anyway, this fold, it's really, it's very fairly simple. So I'm kind of calling it a fun fold, kind of like a tri-fold in a way. I don't know. I still have to figure out what I'm calling it, but kind of like a fun fold flap card is basically what I think I'll kind of go with. But you basically just need some cardstock, some coordinating cardstock colors, some designer series paper, or DSP as I always like to abbreviate it, and then some coordinating stamps, punches, dies, whatever with it. And it's fairly simple. It also uses up some of your cards or DSP scraps because it doesn't take very much. And this is my first one that I did. This is one that we'll be doing next Tuesday at my class. And this one features the Beauty of Friendship stamp set with it. And then today we are going to be using the Deer Punch and then the Whimsy and Wonder designer series paper that is in the holiday catalog that ends this month. So make sure this paper, it's so pretty. It's got that like really pretty iridescent. I don't know if you can kind of see that, but it's just a great paper. I'm down to scraps now. So we're going to get started. We're going to make this card today. So the supplies that you need, your card base. Okay, so this is going to be what I did, the base of this card. Needs to be 5.5 by 7 inches. We are then going to score on the 7-inch side at 4.25. So I'm going to hold on. So it's so bulky having this. There we go. So on our 7-inch side, we're going to score at 4.25. Okay. Then you're going to take, so where that shorter side is, you'll then fold that over, and this now becomes our card base. Okay, so that's that one. That was that 5.5 by 7, and then you're going to score at 4.25, fold that over, and then you've got your card base. All right, then the next piece for layering is going to be a coordinating cardstock. So look at your DSP and see what papers you want to use. So for this one, because it's going to go on this flap, this piece is now 2.5 by 5.25. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that to the front of my card base. And this is polished pink, which is one of the in colors for this year. Now, my coordinating, and so you can either do this piece as cardstock, or you can do it as designer series paper, or DSP is what I call it. So now this is going to be a 1/4 inch smaller. So this is 2.25 by 5. And again, our designer series paper is two-sided, so you can always decide, which front or, you want to use. And we'll just layer this on. Okay, so now that is that front panel. Then you just need to do for your inside piece, this is just your standard white, neutral, whatever coordinating, however your paper color coordination is. This is just going to be 5.25 by 4. And that's just going to be attached to the inside of the card. Actually, wait. Hold on. Sorry. Before I scrub. Don't attach this in here yet. I'm just going to put that over here because we need to do our flap, which is this piece, because this gets attached underneath the white cardstock. That's why I'm like, hold on. I caught myself, so that's good. Okay, so this one, you want to make sure that whatever this piece is, that it coordinates with your card base. So this is going to be 3 3/4 by 3 inches. We are going to score on the 3-inch side at a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So on the 3-inch side, I'm going to score at a 1/2 inch. And then that's all of our scoring that we're doing. Then you're just going to fold this. I just kind of do it on both sides. And then what you want to do, you want to use a kind of a stronger adhesive just to ensure that it's not going to move around on you. So I'm just going to use my multi-purpose glue, and I'm going to put glue on this 1/2 inch tab. And then you're going to make sure that the tab, and it's just making sure you're making sure that where the score line is going to be flush against the edge of your cardstock. And then I just make sure that I'm putting this in so that it's, somewhat centered. Okay, so there you have that 1/2 inch flap is flush with the edge of your card. And then I just made sure that that was adhered. And then now you've got that flap. So now you can go ahead and take that 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 by 4 inch white piece of cardstock and adhere that. To your inside of your card. And then you'll go this and then that. So now this panel is going to be designer series paper. It can be cardstock, whatever you want. But this piece measures 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. And that is just going to be adhered to that front flap panel. And that is the construction of kind of this front flap fold card. Okay. Now you can decorate however you want. So I'm going to take a snowflake. I'm going to do a little bit of our deer punch. And then I'm going to use a sentiment to kind of finish off my card. On my original one, I had done the tree and I had die cut the tree. And then I had done the little bird in the tree and then kind of offset on that little sentiment strip. So kind of fun. All right, so I'm going to take my snowflakes, and these are, and I'm finishing these off. I've got 3 left. These were the, oh, and I lost my packaging, but they were in the holiday catalog this year. They were the iridescent kind of snowflakes. You can use them as is. You can also color them with the Stamp and Blend marker. So I'm going to use the polished pink, and I'm using the dark, and I'm going to use the brush tip. And I found that when you're going to color these, it's easier if you kind of keep it in the package that it comes in. There's like this little tissue paper behind here, and then the chipboard that comes with it. So I found that if you're going to color it, it was a little bit easier to color directly while it's still in the, you know, the packaging. So I'm just using the side of my Stampin' Blend. And this is like an alcohol-based marker. So it's the ink's gonna dry fairly quickly. Okay. And we'll just kind of give that a second to dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to take my Deer Punch. And now this is finally, it's back in stock. It was on back order for a little bit, but it's finally back in stock. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to punch out my deer. And because I wanted his antlers to be a little bit different color, I'm going to take some mint macaron. And I'm just going to punch out the antlers from the green. So I just need my deer, and I'll just keep these pieces for later. And then I've got his antlers. And then the other thing that I'm super excited, so our clearance rack has a ton of stuff on it. And some of it is like things that have been retired for quite a while. I'm super excited. They brought back the Shimmer Paint. So I use this all the time. This is where you can get a little travel size bottle, fill it, you know, most of the way with rubbing alcohol, and then add this Shimmer Paint. And then that way you can get like your own kind of shimmer spray. But super excited that they brought this back. So we're going to, you want to shake this up. This is like an iridescent paint. So pretty. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sponge and just add a little bit of paint to my sponge. And then I'm using my silicone craft mat just so that I don't get my surface all inky. And I'm just going to dab this Shimmer Paint onto my Blushing Bride cardstock, just to give my little reindeer, dropping, some shimmer. Super pretty. Okay, so we're going to give this a quick shot with the heat tool just to dry him. Okay. Then what's nice, because you used your silicone mat, you can then just take a wet cloth or a baby wipe, and then that'll just wipe off that paint. So that comes in handy quite a bit, having that little silicone mat. Okay, so now that our snowflake has dried, I'm just going to pop this out from the laser die cut. Okay. So there's that, and we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to do a little bit of liquid glue. And whenever I'm using glue, I kind of like to use my silicone mat just so I don't get my work surface glue, you know, kind of sticky or tacky from the adhesive. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on this. Let's set that aside. And then we'll just layer this on to the front of the card, like so. Okay. And then for the reindeer, I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive behind his head. That way, for his antlers, I then can just pick these up. Let's see, maybe I have these wrong, punched out wrong. Hold on. There we go. Like so. And then I'm going to use a few little dimensionals. And this will kind of just make sure that those antlers don't move around. So we'll put a few of these. On the back. Oops. Okay. And then that'll be attached onto the front. And then I like to add a little bit of bling, so I'm going to use some of my in color gemstones, and I'm using my the putty side of my take pick tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push off that rhinestone, and because there's that putty on there, it holds the rhinestone in place. So this way I can go ahead and just attach that to my front, so it gives my little Rudolph gem on there. And then I already, just to save some time, I took the sentiment Happy Christmas from Words of Cheer. And what I actually did, because I really wanted, I didn't want From My Home to Yours. So what I did is, because that's one stamp, I took it and I actually cut it with just scissors, so that now I've got my Happy Christmas all by itself, and then From My Home to Yours is a separate one. So that's kind of something that you can do with the photopolymer stamps, is you can kind of cut them apart if, you know, should you want to. So that's just what I did on here. And then this die cut then is actually from the Beauty of Friendship die, and so I used that rectangular die. I cut it out 3 times, stamped on the first one, embossed it with white paper, or I'm sorry, white embossing powder, and then we're just going to adhere We're going to adhere these layers then together, and this just adds dimension without having to like use dimensionals. It uses up scrap cardstock. So I'm just layering the other 2 pieces onto the back just to give it a little bit of height. And then with that silicone mat, you can just go ahead and wipe off that excess adhesive. It's just a handy little $6 tool that you always can use. Okay, so now all 3 of those pieces are then layered together. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to now attach this to the front of the card, and or the flap, and I only want to put adhesive right here because I don't want it to stick to my flap, otherwise you wouldn't be able to open it. So we are just going to, I think, from here on back, so from my fingernail to the edge of the card is where we'll place that adhesive. And then just kind of press firmly, make sure it's held in place. That looks good. And then for the inside, so very important, as you're making these cards, you want to ensure that whatever you put on here isn't going to show. Okay, so I had, oh, here it is. I just have from the Words of Cheer. I'm going to use Sending You Christmas Cheer, and I'm doing that in the polished pink. So I know my flap is here, so that it basically anything from here on, I'm okay. So we're just going to ink this up, Sending You Christmas Cheer in the polished pink. I'm using my foam mat because this is a photopolymer stamp and I need that extra cushion when I'm stamping. So we'll just put that right there in the center. And that completes the fun fold flap card. So I hope to you guys take some time and trying some of these this fold. It is really fun. Again, it's a great way to use up some designer series paper, and it's a fun kind of card to give to someone. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to stamp with you again in person pretty soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.